My name, as I said earlier, is Kath Temple, and here in Gibraltar I run a business called Temple of Success, and we're setting up my non-profit, the Happiness Foundation, here next. And I'm your next speaker. And I want to talk to you about the kindness revolution. And I encourage all of you to become kindness warriors. Kindness warriors. It was Pythagoras who said, "The choices are the hinge points of destiny." Choices are the hinge points of destiny. I love that, because in any given moment, on any given day, you have choices. How to look, what to wear, what to do. Whether to believe or not that where you are is exactly where you're meant to be. And that so placed around you is everyone else who is exactly where they're meant to be. And we have a choice in any given moment on any given day about whether to engage that person, whether to connect, whether to ignore, whether to encourage, whether to criticize. We have so many choices in each and every given moment on each and every given day. Sometimes in my home in the UK, as I drive along the highways and byways, my journey is inspired by the daffodils and the poppies. And I think that someone has taken the time to plant those bulbs, and perhaps the birds have planted some seeds, but they grace my journey. And I ask you, how do you grace the journey of others in this lifetime? And who graces your journey in this lifetime too? Someone once said that society grows great when old men plant trees under whose shade they will never sit. I love that. I love it. So this business of choice and intention. Do you lead your day, and do you set your intention as you set out to live that day? Do you lead your life, or do you allow your life to lead you? The business of kindness. I remember one day I was waiting in my grandchildren's school, and I was waiting to see the head teacher, who was a little late. And so I was asked to sit on the bench, a little bit like a naughty schoolgirl. And as I sat on the bench outside of the head teacher's office, one of my granddaughters came to the window and made pictures with her hands to me, telling me that she loved me. Heartwarming gesture. And then the school doors flung open, and a little curly blonde-haired boy burst out of the school doors. Now, you're not sent out of the hallway at lunchtime for good behaviour, are you? We sent out for something a little different, and he sat with a scowl, cross-legged, on the floor just to the side of me. And the school secretary was sitting there behind a glass pane, and she went to me, and I went, choices. Do we engage? Do we not? Do we acknowledge? Do we not? It's just choices. So I said to the little boy, "It looks like you've been sent out to reflect on something." And he went. And I said, "If you could go back in and do it again, what is it that you would do differently?" And he went. And he said, "I would be kind. I would be kind." I loved that. And I said, "I bet many times in your life you have been kind, have you not?" And he went. And I said, "Did you know that human beings are designed to be kind? All human beings are designed to be kind." And he kind of looked surprised. And I said, "I bet you've been kind many times in your life." And he reflected and went. I said, "Think of the last time you were kind." And he reflected. I said, I bet you felt really good right in here. And he went. I said, and I bet the person that you were kind to also felt good right in here too. And he went. I said, that's because you're designed to be kind. And the school secretary went to me. I might have had 10 brownie points that day. We are all designed to be kind. Kindness, I believe, is love made visible. Kindness is love with its work boots on. Sometimes each of us have an idea inside of our minds that we're kind people. But unless we take action in alignment with that kindness, the kindness only exists as an idea in our mind because it's not actualized, it's not actioned in the world. And I encourage all of you to do acts of kindness right where you are, to become awake. So many sleepwalkers in our lives, too many sleepwalkers in the world. Be awake. Notice that exactly where you stand is sacred ground. You're meant to be there, and so are the people all around you. This is a philosophy that was shared with me as a child by my wonderful parents, Jack and Bega Black, all the way across in the Lake District. Beautiful, beautiful people who actioned kindness on a daily basis, but it was also enacted with us, that if we fell on hard times, and be sure that we did, our family and our community supported us. But similarly, if others in our community fell on hard times, so we supported them too on a daily basis. Who is it that you support and who supports you on a daily basis? It's wonderful to enact random acts of kindness and planned acts of kindness on a regular basis. Kindness is really good for us. We are designed to be kind, and we have been given reward systems for the very acts of kindness that I'm sure many of you do on a daily basis. When you commit a delicious, delightful act of kindness, your brain gives you high levels of a wonderful hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin, as psychologists call the moral molecule. The moral molecule. It's a bonding hormone. Human beings were never meant to be isolated beings. We are tribal and communal and collective animals. Very sophisticated animals indeed. We bond, and we bond through kindness. So build reservoirs of kindness in your life. Your brain will reward you with that delicious oxytocin, with the happy endorphins and hormones like serotonin, and with dopamine, a wonderful hormone that gives you what we call the helper's high. Not only do you get to feel good about acts of kindness, it also impacts your heart. The heart-warming emotion of kindness expands your blood vessels through the vagus nerve and lowers your blood pressure, provides wonderful corticosteroids that help protect the heart. It's a heart protective action that you take in any given moment, on any given day, and worth a thought even for that. Kindness also builds great relationships. And how wonderful to go through your life living within great relationships, building those reservoirs of positivity with warmth and with love. I remember reading a phrase that touched my life in a profound way, and it was by the psychiatrist M. Scott Peck, who wrote the book The Road Less Travelled By. And M. Scott Peck said that love is not just a feeling. Love is an action that demonstrates love each and every day that you are in existence and coexistence with others in your family, in your schools, in your workplaces, and in your community. I like to bring kindness to communities and to families too. Sometimes we forget to hold some kindness for home, and yet home is your base camp, is it not? Nobody conquers Everest without a great base camp. So remember to enact acts of kindness daily. Put the love work boots on and commit random acts of kindness. In the Happiness Foundation, I believe that kindness makes people happier people. It's a route and a roadmap to happiness. And the great psychiatrist Milton H. Erickson, with his very gravelly voice, once made a home visit to one of his patients in America. And as all great clinicians must, he noticed some things about the woman and her home. He noticed that she had symbols of faith upon her being and in her house. And she was struggling with depression. So Milton H. Erickson said to the woman, "Ma'am, I think you're a very selfish woman." And she looked horrified. "Dr. Erickson, I don't believe I am a selfish woman." He says, "Well, I'm looking around and I see all these African violets. You know they're very difficult to grow, yet you seem to have a flair for growing them." He said, "But I notice you keep them all to yourself." He says, "Do you go to church on a Sunday?" And she said, "Indeed I do, Dr. Erickson." He said, "Then I think it's about time you did some kindnesses in your church and in your community. Take some of those African violets out. And when the pastor reads those bans for the people who are going to get married today, or in a few weeks' time, I want you to give them one of your African violets." And indeed she did, and inevitably got invited to the weddings, and then to the christenings that ensued, and to the family celebrations, and she became a fundamental part of the community in which she lived. And when she died, not the town newspaper, but the state newspaper had as its headline, "The African Violet Woman of Milwaukee has died." The gifts and the skills that you have are there not just for you to keep for yourself, but for you to contribute to the world we're in. As our beautiful Nalini said, we're here to be earthed. A package of beautiful energy with gifts, skills, talents, a unique energy signature, a unique flavor, a unique spice, unique gifts, unique personalities. And you're here to contribute all that you are, your beingness, as well as your doingness, to our wonderful planet. In acts of kindness, your heart goes into coherent rhythms. And the beautiful coherent rhythms of your heart begin to infect and affect the rhythms of other people all around you. The happier you are, the more coherent and in alignment you are, the more of an impact you have in this one wild and precious life of yours. This one wild and precious life. So remember that. You are designed to be kind. You have choices that you can make. How delicious and delightful is that? Free will and choice. And can you tolerate the idea for a moment of the world that we would live in if everyone chose every day of their lives to do kindnesses for others all around them? We would transform the world, a kindness revolution, beginning with the kindness warriors inside of this room. Many of you might have read that wonderful book, Harry Potter, the series of books by J.K. Rowling. And within them, Dumbledore says to young Harry, "In the end, Harry, it is our choices that define us." I believe that so much. And with that thought, I'm going to ask you all to stand. All of you stand. And take that wonderful right hand and arm of yours and place it upon your hearts. We have some glorious certificates for you each later. They're from World Change Agents. I believe we have a room full of World Change Agents, and that's why you're here. So repeat after me. I hereby solemnly declare that I will be a secret agent of change. And I choose to live my life awake on purpose, with intention, and I shall plant poppies and daffodils in the hearts and the minds of others that will bloom and grow long after I've left them. I choose to leave a lasting legacy of great energy, of great kindness, of great love, and to be an agent of transformation. And I recognize my world needs me. My world needs me. My life matters. My life counts. And so do I. And with that thought in mind, I go for a break.